Good morning, all of you. I heartily welcomes to all of you at platform of अनुपम फार्मास्यूटिकल। जैसा कि मैंने बताया है सबको कि आज का जो टॉपिक है प्रेजेंट एंड फ्यूचर नीड्स ऑफ प्रैक्टिस इन आयुर्वेद, जिसके हमारे चीफ गेस्ट हैं डॉक्टर एम एस बघेल सर और वैसे कृष्ण खंडेल सर। बघेल सर बहुत ही रिनोट पर्सन है काय चिकित्सा और पंचकर्म में। काफी एक्सपीरियंस है सर को, 40 साल के लगभग का टीचिंग में पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट एक्सपीरियंस है सर। जामनगर यूनिवर्सिटी के एक्स डायरेक्टर भी हैं और मिनिस्ट्री के गवर्नमेंट बॉडी में काउंसिल के चेयरमैन भी रह चुके हैं। तो मैं सर से अनुरोध करना चाहूंगा बघेल सर से कि आज का जो हमने सब्जेक्ट रखा था इस पे अपने विचार व्यक्त करें। धन्यवाद सर, प्लीज सर।
परम सम्माननीय और हमारे मित्र खंडल साहब और शंकर राव जी और समस्त वैद्यगण जो इस सभा में उपस्थित हैं एवं अन्य श्रोता, वस्तुतः आयुर्वेद के लिए तो हर समय ही क्रिटिकल होता है, पर आज का समय तो बहुत ही क्रिटिकल है, क्योंकि जैसे जैसे मॉडर्न मेडिसिन की कमियां उजागर होती जा रही हैं, वैसे वैसे और तेजी से आयुर्वेद सबको याद आता जा रहा है। और ये आज पैंडेमिक के युग में मैं ये समझता हूँ कि एक बड़ी दिलासा और बड़े संतोष का विषय आयुर्वेद रहा कि जनता के साथ खड़ा रहा। आयुर्वेद के चिकित्सक, आयुर्वेद की दवाइयां और आयुर्वेद का शास्त्र ज्ञान, तीनों ने मिलकर जनता की बहुत ही सेवा की। करोड़ों लोगों ने इन प्रकार आयुर्वेद, आयुष, होम्योपैथी, सिद्ध समस्त प्रकार की औषधियों का सेवन किया है और अपनी सुरक्षा किया है। इसलिए आज का युग आयुर्वेद का युग है और आयुर्वेद के समस्त स्टेक होल्डर्स जिनको हम कहते हैं, चाहे वो फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्री हो, चाहे वैद्य हो और चाहे जनता हो, ये सभी स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं और सबको बड़ी सावधानी से आयुर्वेद को समझना चाहिए और आयुर्वेद का प्रयोग करना चाहिए। ये आयुर्वेद एक ऐसा सिस्टम है कि जो काफी हद तक मुश्किल शायद ही कभी कोई कहे कि हमको आयुर्वेद से कुछ नुकसान हो गया। एक निरापद व्यवस्था है जो है समस्त आपकी जो जिंदगी की तकलीफें हैं उनको, बच्चा पैदा होता है उस दिन से स्वर्ण आप करते हैं, वहां से चल के वृद्धावस्था को रोकने में और वृद्धावस्था की जो बीमारियां हैं उनको रोकने तक आयुर्वेद हर विधा में कारगर है। इसलिए आयुर्वेद आज का ही नहीं, अगली सेंचुरी का भी चिकित्सा शास्त्र है। इसलिए इसको प्रयोग करते वक्त हमको ये ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि हम जो भी चीज प्रयोग कर रहे हैं उसको सावधानी से किसी वैद्य की सलाह से प्रयोग करें तो ज्यादा उत्तम रहेगा। दूसरी बात, आयुर्वेद का एक विषय जो छूट जाता है प्राय करके, औषधियां हमको चाहिए, परंतु कोई भी औषधियों की खेती करने के लिए अग्रसर नहीं हो रहा है। ये भी एक चिंता का विषय है कि जिस प्रकार से आयुर्वेद की औषधियां का प्रयोग बढ़ता चला जा रहा है, उसी प्रकार से हमको जड़ी बूटियों की आवश्यकता पड़ेगी औषधियां बनाने के लिए। तो हम सभी से निवेदन करेंगे कि जहां तक हो सके, जिनको भी प्रमोट कर सके, ऐसे लोगों को आगे लाएं जो औषधियों की खेती करें। रही बात क्या करना, किन व्याधियों में करना, तो मित्रों आयुर्वेद एक हमारा जीवन का ऐसा विधान है जो आपके हर क्षेत्र में हर समय आपके साथ खड़ा हुआ है। और इसलिए कम से कम पहले भाग के मॉडर्न डॉक्टर के पास जाने के बजाय एक बार आप अपने पास के किसी वैद्य से क्या सलाह तो लीजिए, पूछिए तो सही कि वो क्या कर सकते हैं। आज मॉडर्न की दवाइयां, चाहे वो आपका एंटासिड्स हो जो किडनी फेल करती हैं, चाहे वो मिथोट्रेक्सेट जैसी दवाइयां हो जो आम बात के रोगी खा रहे हैं, सब इतनी भयावह जो है एडवर्स इफेक्ट्स को पैदा करती हैं, तो उनसे तो कम से कम आयुर्वेद बचा ही सकता है और आपको उनसे बेटर लाभ दे सकता है। तीसरी बात जो आपके ध्यान में लाना चाहूंगा, जो वैद्य और चिकित्सक हैं, कि जो अब आज का युग है वो इंटीग्रेटेड प्रैक्टिस का नहीं है, वो मॉडर्नाइज्ड आयुर्वेद का भी नहीं होगा, वो शुद्ध आयुर्वेद का एक विधान होगा और आयुर्वेद हमको शुद्ध विधान में उसके कलेवर में प्रयोग करना पड़ेगा, अन्यथा आपको समाज में आपकी मनोवांछित स्थिति नहीं मिलेगी। तो इसलिए आप जो है इस बात को ध्यान रखें कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा आयुर्वेद को समझें, आयुर्वेद को पालन करें, उसके पथ्यापथ्य अनुपान सहपान के साथ औषधियों का प्रयोग करने की आदत डालें, तो आपको वही औषधियां जो आपका लाभ नहीं दे रही थी वो करनी पड़ेगी। तीसरी बात, अभी तक ज्यादातर प्रैक्टिशनर मॉडर्न डायग्नोसिस के साथ आयुर्वेदिक ट्रीटमेंट दे रहे हैं, परंतु अगर आप आयुर्वेद औषधियों का प्रयोग आयुर्वेदिक निदान के आधार पर करेंगे तो इसलिए जो है आपको काफी आगे जाने को मिलेगा। तो इसलिए जो है आप जो आयुर्वेद का प्रयोग है वो आयुर्वेद का प्रयोग उसके फॉर्मेट में ही करने का प्रयास करें, और जब आप ध्यान से निदान को अच्छी तरह समझेंगे, निदान पे आगे बढ़ेंगे, तो जो है आपको धीरे धीरे ये समझ में आने लगेगा कि जो है आयुर्वेद कितना उपयोगी है और किस प्रकार से इसका प्रयोग किया जा सकता है। तो मित्रों, मैं आज के इस युग में इस अच्छी सी वेबिनार में मैं आप सभी को बधाई देता हूं कि आप आयुर्वेद के उस महामुकाम पे खड़े हुए हैं जहां समाज में आयुर्वेद की उपयोगिता इतनी बढ़ गई है कि अगर आप मार्केट सर्वे पढ़ रहे हो तो आयुर्वेद की औषधियों का सेल लगभग 3 गुना से 4 गुना हो गया है। कुछ कॉमन औषधियां तो बाजार में उपलब्ध ही नहीं हो रही हैं। एक गुरुची जैसी सर्व सामान्य औषधि इस समय बाजार में बड़ी मुश्किल से मिल पा रही है। तो इसलिए आप आयुर्वेद को अच्छी तरह सोच समझ कर उसके फॉर्मेट में प्रयोग करें। कल आपका है, आप अच्छी तरह से अपनी जो है उसको प्रयोग कर सकते हैं। मैं समझता हूँ इसी के साथ मैं लोकुश सिंह, द डायरेक्टर ऑफ दिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, उनका धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करता हूँ कि जिन्होंने इतनी अच्छी जो है वेबिनार का आयोजन किया। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सर, आपने बहुत अहम जानकारी सर साझा किया। उम्मीद है कि सारे जो प्राइवेट प्रैक्टिशनर और गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स हैं इस चीज को जरूर अपने अंदर उतारेंगे। धन्यवाद सर। मैं खंडेल सर से अनुरोध करना चाहूंगा कि सर अपना विचार व्यक्त करें।
नमस्कार लोकुश सिंह जी।
नमस्ते सर।
नमस्ते प्रदीप जी। गोस्वामी सर नमस्ते।
सर गोस्वामी सर हमारे साथ आ सकते हैं, आ गए हैं सर। नमस्कार सर।
सर सभी श्रोताओं को और सभी मित्रजनों को मेरा प्रणाम। बघेल सर ने सारी बात विस्तार से बता दी है। मैं कुछ चीजें और ऐड कर सकता हूँ उनकी बात को ही आगे ले जाते हुए कि अभी ये जो कोविड का जो पराक्रम है उसके सामने हमने दुनिया के जो श्रेष्ठतम जो मेडिकल साइंस है उसको परास्त होते देखा है और दुनिया में देखा है। इवन WHO तक कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं है कि डायग्नोसिस के बारे में और ट्रीटमेंट के बारे में। और ये जो स्थिति है ये कुछ 4-5 महीनों में लगातार और गिरती जा रही है और अब जो स्थिति है वो इससे ज्यादा भयावह स्थिति ये है कि पोस्ट कोविड जो पेशेंट आ रहे हैं जो हॉस्पिटलाइज होकर के आ रहे हैं, आईसीयू का ट्रीटमेंट लेकर के आ रहे हैं, उनकी स्थिति जीवन से भी ज्यादा मुश्किल, उनका जीवन और भी ज्यादा दूभर हो रहा है। उनमें इतने तरह के विकार हैं कि कम से कम 50 तरह के विकार तो लिस्टेड हैं। अभी और कुछ लिस्ट होना बाकी है, जिसमें गैस्ट्रिक अपसेट से लेकर के पल्मोनरी कंजेशन या लंग फाइब्रोसिस और मेंटल डिसऑर्डर्स, बहुत तरह के मेंटल डिसऑर्डर्स, न्यूरोजेनिक डिसऑर्डर्स, मस्कुलेचर का डिफॉर्मेशन, बहुत सारे जॉइंट रिप्लेसमेंट की तक की जरूरत, बहुत सारे ऐसी प्रॉब्लम्स जिनको हम अभी तक आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर पा रहे। ये सारे केसेस अब पोस्ट कोविड में हम दोनों क्लिनिक चलाते हैं आपके सामने, और हमें ये रोज फेस करना पड़ता है कि कोविड नेगेटिव होने के बाद में उसकी स्थिति और ज्यादा, जबकि वो अनकंट्रोल्ड मेडिकेशन हुआ है, बहुत सारा आईसीयू मैनेजमेंट एक सबसे अच्छा पक्ष उसका यह है कि उसमें आप मैनेज करते हैं, लेकिन क्योर के लिए वो सबसे बुरा पक्ष है, क्योंकि उसमें सारा कुछ काम जो है वो आईसीयू का वार्ड बॉय या नर्स करती है, डॉक्टर का काम ज्यादा है नहीं उसमें। और उसमें क्या है कि आप केवल इमरजेंसी पर ध्यान दे रहे हैं, बाकी बॉडी पर ध्यान दे ही नहीं रहे। तो ऐसी स्थितियों में आयुर्वेद के लिए काम बहुत बढ़ जाता है। और एक बात और कि इस लॉकडाउन के पीरियड के दौरान जो जनरल पेशेंट्स थे, जो किडनी के पेशेंट थे या हार्ट के पेशेंट थे या जॉइंट डिसऑर्डर्स के पेशेंट थे या और कई कई अलग अलग बीमारियों के पेशेंट थे, उनको रेगुलर दवाइयां जो बरसों से चल रही थी, उनको न कंसल्टेशन मिला, न दवाइयां मिली, न कोई गाइडेंस मिला, और वो लोग ज्यादा स्वस्थ रहे बजाय कि वो जो रेगुलरली दवाइयां ले रहे थे उसकी बजाय। और उनमें से ज्यादातर बीमार हमारे पास आ गए कि साहब हम क्या है कि ये कार्डियो प्रोटेक्टिव ड्रग ले रहे हैं, ये क्या है कि नेफ्रोसिस के लिए ये दवाइयां ले रहे हैं, अब आपके पास में कुछ हो तो बताइए। तो उनमें कुछ वंडरफुल रिजल्ट्स हैं। और ताजुब की बात यह है कि जिन दवाइयों को, इवन थायराइड के लिए थायरोनॉल, ये दवाइयां बरसों से चल रही है, और वो दवाइयां बंद करने के बाद में कोई सोच नहीं सकता था कि ये बंद भी की जा सकती है। लोगों ने बंद करके देख ली, कुछ नहीं हुआ। तो कुल मिलाकर के ये जो सारा सिस्टम है ये एक्सपोज हो गया। चिल्ड्रन साइकोलॉजी की बात, अभी स्कूलें बंद है ना, और घर में एक माँ बाप को बच्चों की आदत नहीं है, बच्चों को माँ बाप की आदत नहीं है। ये सारी जो प्रॉब्लम है ये स्कूल सॉल्व करता था, लेकिन अब वो बच्चे, अब हमारे पास में ऐसे बच्चे आ रहे हैं जो या तो क्या है कि कंप्यूटर और ये लैपटॉप और ये मोबाइल से अनेक अनेक प्रकार के गेम्स खेलते हैं, या फिर किसी तरह के पबजी वबजी जो बैन कर दिया बताते हैं वो सब खेल रहे हैं। और उनको रोकने के बाद में वो इतने ऑब्सेसिव हो गए हैं, इतना मूड डिसऑर्डर्स है उनमें, इतना जबरदस्त क्या है कि बाइपोलर डिसऑर्डर्स है, कि उन बच्चों को भी हमने देखा है उनकी कितनी स्थितियां खराब है, और उनका ट्रीटमेंट भी आयुर्वेद में अब तक सोचा नहीं जा रहा था, और उसका ट्रीटमेंट आयुर्वेद में हो रहा है। तो जिन मेंटल डिसऑर्डर्स के ट्रीटमेंट के बारे में हम लोग अभी तक लगभग अनजान थे, तब हमने देखा कि ये अच्छा मौका है कि हमारे पास में बहुत सारे ऐसे चैलेंजेस हैं जो पहली बार आए हैं, और पहली बार कोई कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ में हमारी दवा लेने के लिए आया है। तो दिस इज वेरी गुड चांस, वेरी गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी टू टैकल द अननोन, पहले अनसीन डिजीजेस जो हम आयुर्वेद में कभी करते नहीं थे, उन सब चीजों को लोकल लेना, चैलेंज लेना बहुत ही आवश्यक बात होगी। तीसरी बात कि हमने क्या है कि बहुत सारी दवाइयों का ट्रायल अब तक किया ही नहीं था, सही बात तो यह है कि लगभग 100 दवाइयाँ, 125 दवाइयाँ किसी भी बड़े से बड़े इंस्टीट्यूट में किसी भी अच्छे से अच्छे चिकित्सक के द्वारा यूज की जाती है, लेकिन another thousands of the medicines are never used by the physicians in regular practice. अब ये जो नए चैलेंजेस आ रहे हैं, इसमें बहुत सारी नई दवाइयां प्रयोग में आई, बहुत सारे नए डिजीजेज अब सामने आए हैं। तो हमारे पास में दवाओं का जो अथाह भंडार है, जो हमारे पास में रसशास्त्र के लिए या भाव प्रकाश में या हमारे पास में जो फार्माकोपिया है, उसमें कितनी मेडिकेशंस हैं और कितनी मेडिसिन का कहाँ पर किस तरह से यूज किया जा सकता है। जब हमारे पास पेशेंट होंगे तभी तो हम यूज करेंगे, जब हमारे पास चैलेंजेस होंगे तभी तो हम खुल करके खेलेंगे। तो ये बड़ा ओपन फील्ड है आयुर्वेद के लिए, और अभी और कई बरस तक इस फील्ड को, अब तो विदेशों में भी इसकी एक सामान्य स्वीकृति हो गई है कि जब WHO के पास कुछ नहीं है तो ये हमारी स्वतंत्रता है कि हम कुछ भी नहीं। अमेजन का और फ्लिपकार्ट का ये सब दवाइयों का बिजनेस जो है वो बहुत बढ़ गया है। और कौन सी दवाइयाँ, जो ही सिंपल अश्वगंधा, गिलोय, जो शुंठी, इन सब का प्रयोग है ना, सनसनी बटी और सुदर्शन गिनती लोग जानते ही नहीं थे, अब अमेरिका तक सब लोग जानते हैं उनके बारे में। च्यवनप्राश के बारे में तो पहले ही प्रसिद्ध था, और अब तो च्यवनप्राश की हालत ये हो गई है कि किसी भी भाव च्यवनप्राश लेने के लिए तैयार है लोग। तो कुल मिलाकर के आयुर्वेद के लिए ये स्वर्णिम युग है, और ये ऐसा नहीं है कि पेंडेमिक का हमें कोई फायदा मिला है, ये तो हमें उनके फेल्योर का फायदा मिला है, लेकिन अब हमारी मेरिट्स पर ये फायदा कंटिन्यू करेगा। इसको हम सस्टेन कर सकते हैं, इसको डेवलप कर सकते हैं, लेकिन डेवलप कब कर सकते हैं कि जब हमारे फिजिशियन जो है वो मेरिट होल्डर्स हों और बहुत मेरिटोरियसली इस पर काम करें। अभी तक आयुर्वेद के अलावा दूसरे जितने साइंस हैं उसमें कोई डायग्नोसिस का कंसेप्ट ही नहीं है, केवल सिम्टम है, जिसको आरएमपी भी वही दवाई देगा और स्पेशलिस्ट भी वही दवाई देगा। लेकिन आयुर्वेद के पास में बहुत सारे लेवल हैं, बहुत सारे कंसेप्ट हैं, उस कंसेप्ट के आधार पर हम अपनी दवाइयों में केवल चूर्ण से भी और केवल रस रसायन से भी और स्वर्ण रसम से भी हर एक चीज से इलाज कर सकते हैं। डिपेंड करता है कि हाउ यू फीड डिजीज, आप डायग्नोसिस कैसे करते हैं, क्या कंसेप्ट क्या है आपका, औसत से इलाज, आहार से भी इलाज कर सकते हैं, दिनचर्या से भी इलाज कर सकते हैं। तो हम सिंपल घी तेल जो उनको भी, उनसे भी प्रयोग कर सकते हैं, घरेलू मेडिसिन से भी प्रयोग कर रहे हैं, इलाज कर सकते हैं। तो कुल मिलाकर के आयुर्वेद ही एक ऐसा समग्र विज्ञान है जिसके पास में बहुत सारे एवेन्यूज हैं, जिनका अभी तक बहुत कम प्रयोग हो रहा था, और अब आने वाले समय में लोगों का श्रद्धा भी बढ़ी है, आयुर्वेद के वैद्यों का विश्वास भी बढ़ा है, और ऐसी स्थितियों को हमें और आगे ले जाना चाहिए। लवकुश सिंह जी और शंकर राव जी, प्रदीप जी और प्रदीप गोस्वामी जी और प्रदीप प्रजापति जी, ओपी सिंह साहब भी आ रहे हैं। तो इन सब लोगों से मेरा निवेदन है कि आप लोग नेतृत्व कीजिए और अब आने वाली आयुर्वेदिक पीढ़ी को ट्रेन कीजिए कि किस तरह के चैलेंजेस और किस तरह की अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं, उसके लिए किस तरह से हमें अपने आप को तैयार करना है। और आयुर्वेदिक जो औषधि बनाने वाले हैं उनसे मेरा निवेदन है कि आप बदली हुई परिस्थितियों में अब बड़ी डिजीज स्पेसिफिक मेडिसिन बनाएं, बजाय कि सारे लोग केवल इम्यूनिटी चिल्ला रहे हैं। केवल इम्यूनिटी का सिद्धांत हमारे यहाँ काम नहीं करता है। जब तक हम डिजीज स्पेसिफिक डायग्नोसिस और डिजीज स्पेसिफिक मेडिसिन पर नहीं आएंगे, तब तक केवल इम्यूनिटी बढ़ा करके सब लोगों को ठीक नहीं कर सकते। और तो इसलिए क्या है कि ये सब निवेदन है मेरा, आप सब लोगों ने मुझे अवसर दिया, इसके लिए मैं आपका हृदय से आभारी हूँ। धन्यवाद। आप सब लोगों को सुनने के बाद में हमें निश्चित रूप से बहुत कुछ नया मिलेगा। मैं आप सबको प्रणाम करता हूँ। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद सर। सर आपने जो जानकारी दी बहुत ही अहम जानकारी थी, प्रैक्टिशनर्स और फार्मा प्रोफेशनल के लिए भी और थी। मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि इस पे कुछ नए विचार भी जो आपने रखे हैं इस पे काम किए जाएंगे। खंडेल सर के लिए अगर मैं कहूँ तो खंडेल सर एनआईए के एक्स प्रोफेसर भी रह चुके हैं और अपने आप में एक अतुलनीय साइंटिस्ट के रूप में भी काम कर रहे हैं। अभी हाल फिलहाल में कोरोना का जो पैंडेमिक इफेक्ट चल रहा है, बघेल सर और खंडेल सर अपने सेंटर पे अच्छा लोगों को ट्रीटमेंट भी दिया है, काफी लोगों को इससे रिलैक्सेशन भी हुआ है। तो ये सर ने जो जानकारी दी है हम इस प्लेटफॉर्म पर, उम्मीद करते हैं सभी लोग साझा करेंगे। धन्यवाद सर। मैं हमारे साथ पीके गोस्वामी सर जुड़ चुके हैं। सर डायरेक्टर हैं नेहा कॉलेज के शिलोंग से। मैं चाहूंगा सर, नमस्कार सर, मैं चाहूंगा सर आप थोड़ा सा इस पे प्रकाश डालें इस सब्जेक्ट पर। धन्यवाद सर।
Namaskar and good morning to everybody. I offer my sincere respect and pranam to Adorable Baghel sir and Sri Krishna Khandel sir, as well as my regards to Shankar Rao ji and my love and regards to Professor Prajapati and Professor Om Prakash Singh ji. I am very much glad and extend my sincere thanks to the organizer to give me opportunity to take part in this webinar and sharing my views on the topic of present and future needs of practice in Ayurveda. So as Khandel sir and Baghel sir has discussed certain very important point, and whether knowingly or unknowingly, we are discussing the prospect of Ayurveda confined to the management of COVID-19. But when we are discussing the future needs of practice in Ayurveda also, as Khandel sir and Baghel sir has discussed that Ayurveda is the ocean of knowledge. We have a very good and very big storehouse of drugs, which definitely combined herbals as well as mineral products. As Khandel sir has rightly stated, that only boosting immunity may not be only area of Ayurveda. And from the point of principles, Nidan Boyuridik, Very Boyuridik and Ubhay, Nidan and Very Boyuridik Chikitsa, we have to discuss so many things. And I want to make it very clear that when being a teacher or practitioner of Ayurveda, my views may be differ from the policymakers and others. For example, in management of COVID, we are giving more priority to boosting of immunities. But we are not making so much trial on certain Vedic-Pratanic Chikitsa, because we have a good number of medicines, whether Jaradhikar or management of complication of COVID in SAS Adhikar. But it is seen in unorganized system, good number of Ayurvedic practitioner has prescribing this different type of treatment in different areas, and they have got good responses. And another question is that when we are discussing the management of COVID, whether it's immune boosting or different medicines and a very Ayurvedic, then we should have to discuss the quality of medicines, as well as the management of principle may be differ person to persons. I want to one experience, because you see, last month of October, I myself has been hospitalized for COVID for 15 days. But before that, continuously I taking the very that is immune boosting drugs. But question is that when I have exposed to a very risk factor in the international airport, I have been susceptible to these organisms, or I have got disease. So that is another question. On the other hand, where I am saying, you see, comparatively certain races are more infected. For example, the number of infected people in COVID-19, if they are maybe in certain races, maybe less. So I think there is data is not available on this medical anthropological aspects. That is one of the important factors. So when we are going to discussing the management principle in the present COVID, and I think we should have to go now ready to trial so many other medicines, because we are giving a great emphasis on Gurusi Ashwagandha. But perhaps we have not publicized more importance of Pippali. Or similarly, combination of drugs is mentioned in the classics like Picotu or other herbal mineral preparations. Apart from asymptomatic or mild symptomatic positive cases, Sanjeevani Viti or such type of medicine or Eladi Konai, Pasai, these are having more role because we are trialing this medicine in Ceylons. So I am not going to discuss more thing on COVID because in now more and more discussion is going in management of COVID by alternative system of medicines. But I am going to give emphasis of certain hard reality. The management of COVID is no more is a matter of only medical science. It is actually economic factor. More precisely, it should be discussed by the pharmaceutical business. Because the last 7 to 8 months, whatever we've seen in the scientific level or even in certain scenarios which is publicized officially or non-officially in WHO websites, or even in India also, that modern science, that means so-called allopathic science, is strongly opposing the Ayurvedic concept. But they are, without any evidence, they are also using a good number of medicines. So I think right now, as an academician, we should not be focused this thing on, because this is a economic factors. Pharmaceutical industry is going to be fighting themselves, and they are going to create their own scientific group, their own publicity house, and their own followers. So we should not be conflict. But our question is that if we are giving a sustainable and good, effective treatment, public is going to be accept in national level or in global level. That is our important questions. But our question is that when we are thinking of future prospect, we keep aside the present scenario of this and COVID-19. But still, we have recognized that the COVID management and its crisis in management is so-called conventional Western system. It is given a plenty of opportunity to the alternative system of medicine or complementary medicines to establish themselves, whether it may be Ayurveda or yoga, in management of different aspects of the different stages of diseases. So it is a high time we have to establish ourselves, and no doubt we have to recognize now we have a very strong base, which is supported by government, and we have very actively supported by the different practitioners and researchers to collecting certain data, preparing data, and substantiate their demands. So it is a good effect. But our question is that when we are going to discuss the present and future, we have to discuss certain determinant of the issues. Because in academic front, perhaps in national level, we are not doing very praiseworthy approaches. Only few institutes, less than 150 plus colleges are actually participating in good quality educations. So as per our principle, if we are not going to produce a good quality research, then we cannot expect that we can give result to our rogis, and we cannot govern the Dreva as well as Upasthaka. So question is that when we are unable to procreate the quality teachers, because there is always fluctuations or the rapid change or experiment in the syllabus, but we are not given this treatment of the pure Ayurvedic concepts. Then another question is another concept is the drugs or aushadhis. Perhaps we are strictly ignoring the importance of herbal mineral drugs. For example, you see, we are not pressurized in national and international level to give certain relaxation for Ayurvedic pharmaceutical industry to using certain metals or certain minerals. Because without combination of mineral with herbal drugs, I think we cannot be expect very curative treatments. Because our different classics, whether the Brihatrayee, Laghotrayee, or different textbook of pharmaceutical industry, they have discussed thousands of preparations. And some of medicines is very much pinpointedly indicated certain diseases, whether it may be chronic diseases or whether it may be acute diseases. But question is that physicians are not interested, or they may be incapable to preparing such type of drugs. They may not know the application of these drugs in certain conditions. So we are trying to find out the easy escape that Ayurvedic medicine does not affect. But as is very clear that Western medicines, including surgery or advancement of different super specialty, they have the advantage. But in a common people, in daily to daily practice, Ayurvedic practitioner has lot of things to give in. Because what adverse effect is producing the Western system of medicines, majority is not published by the pharmaceutical industry, because they have a very strong record in international level, including publicity house or in the marketing agencies. And Ayurvedic or Ayush industry will take more and more time to take challenges of the Western pharmaceutical industry. That is the hard reality, sir. So, and on the other hand, certain good number of chronic diseases coming up. We are not going to explore the effectiveness of these drugs. And in herbal sectors also, there are a good number of drugs which are highly effective in certain chronic diseases. But I am man of specialty of classes, Samhita and Siddhant, so I am not going to extend my expert opinion, because here senior people like Professor Shankar Rao, Professor Prajapati is there, and they will explore, they will actually definitely put forward their necessity that there must be free access of using of different herbal mineral products for preparing herbal mineral drugs. Without mineral applications in our drugs, I think our new generation cannot do practice effectively in pure Ayurvedic parameters. So there must be certain law to be framed by the government, even in case if there is some toxicity service is needed, toxicity analysis is needed. There are so many agencies are there. We should have to prepare a data that yes, when according to our principle, we are going to prepare these herbal mineral products, these are not having toxicity. And each and every time, the Western parameters of biochemistry or phytochemistry or inorganic chemistry principle may not be applicable for our principles of herbal mineral preparations in Ayurvedic medicines. Even I want to say that in conventional method of preparation of different bhasmas, as well as bulk production by the industrial houses, by muffle furnace, there may be some qualitative changes. Because we know the upala which is used, that is the artificial upala. So I am not going to explain these things, but I know, because in my early stage of my life, I have doing these things. So definitely, the conventional method of food for preparation of bhasmas and the preparation of this muffle furnace, they may be different. So I am just giving one example that each and every time, whether you are going to different stages of process of preparing Ayurvedic drugs, these are to have to be comparatively making that what are the process has been done. Because question is that we are not giving the importance of the traditional physician, those who are really doing good work in the micro level by preparing themselves the preparation classical medicines. We are going to emphasize the different pharmaceutical industries because they are sponsoring agencies. And I know in a good number of institutes now conducting postgraduate education, PhD and research program. So at certain point we should have to discuss, because now we have got the word acceptability in Ayurveda. We are going to be express our very strong position in the global level. But still, we have to realize that our strength should be encouraged rather than we have to just preparing certain data. yes, we should have to prepare data, because if in a micro level, one individual physicians, he may not be a high reputation in ranking, but he or she is preparing this medicine in small amount, but they are quite effective. So these are the certain factors. And another factor is that adulterations of the drugs, whether it's herbal origin or mineral medicines, and non-availability of the drugs, I think gradually it is going to be monopolized by certain vendors of pharmaceutical products, whether it may be mineral products, whether it be duty mineral products, whether it is a final product, intermediate product, or primary product. Same thing in cases of herbal medicines also. Whether it's cultivated by big pharmaceutical houses, whether they have got cultivation facilities, either support or without support of the government. So whether they are free from different errors, whether their parameters have been equally standardized by the different national agencies, or they are simply accepted by these marketing agencies. So there are so many questions there in the whole scenario. But I think in last 2 years, government of India has taken certain very effective steps. They have now very strongly working in the area of pharmacovigilances, as well as they are giving equally emphasis for production and cultivation of quality herbal products. But our question is that whether they are readily available, the herbal products or mineral products. But our question is that whether we are following the classical methods, or only in the name of industrializations, we are deviated from our classical process of preparation of Ayurvedic medicines. Because I know, for example, I am giving an example, though I am a big apology in advance. For example, you see, we have a classical preparations, the Dasamula Arista, and if we are using their mask, that Kasturi, it is very much effective to manage so many Batik disorders. But at present, we cannot think for using masks due to certain legislations of the forestry or environmental, the protection of animal or PETA. But question is the animal or veterinary science is too much advances. So we may go for cultivation of masks there, or we may using tranquilizer and using such a mask. And these should be trialed, because if we are using mask with Dasamula Arista, we can manage certain terminal diseases. And more question is that this medicine will give a very miraculous result in daily to daily practice, and this is going to be encouraged our young generation to independently start practice in Ayurveda. But if we are not having a very effective medicines, it is actually futile exercise to pushing our students to practice Ayurveda independently. That is the important factors. So when I am giving the example that we have a classical concept of Dasamula Arista, which Kasturi Gati, but we are not having the Kasturi. So when we are indirectly neglecting the using of Dasamula Arista, which we are accepting as a Trita Samak. So we have to explore in the government level or in a pharmaceutical industry that what about the rarest of the rare composition of drugs are discussed in our classic. These should have to bring forward. You should have to make certain experimental discussions that we should have to discuss this issue. Otherwise, we have got the treasury of thousands of preparations, including herbal preparation, herbal mineral preparations. I think few herbal preparation may have to be remain for conduct. But in terminally ill patients or clinic patients, or practically without herbal mineral preparation, one young graduates cannot get confidence to stand like, yes, I will survive only practicing the by only Ayurvedic practice. And this is the point why our young generation has demoralized and jumped over to practice combined preparation with allopathic system. And gradually, some groups are having no confidence to start Ayurvedic practice. So they have to encourage the cross-Vedic practice. So these are the future problems. No doubt, we will coming up within 6 months or 1 year. We will coming up the problem of COVID. But practice problem which is arising in front of the young generations, it will remain same. If we are not actually thinking how we are encouraging our young generation that they can survive by practicing pure Ayurvedic practices. Because it is things, we have a good network of customer to accept Ayurvedic treatment in national level and international level. But only question is that there is a lack of physicians or doctors who confidently ready to practice Ayurveda in a curative aspect. Because I think only emphasizing in preventive may not be sufficient. Because preventive concept is one type of cultural evolutions or cultural adaptability of the different societies. For example, you see, now we are using masks for preventive of COVID. But I think earlier we have seen in all the tourist places, whether it is Banaras, Jaipur, the tourists, those who are coming from the Japan and Korea, they are usually using masks. So now Indian people are also going to accept that yes, we are going to be using masks. So gradually there will be cultural change. So that is not any professional achievement in the clinical practice. So when we are going to establish Ayurveda as a viable petty to take the challenge of the Western medicines, because you know, IMA or people from the Western medicine, they are very much aggressive. And they are having a very strong financial support from the pharmaceutical industry. So, in that the aggressive marketing strategy of Western system, if we are not having a very effective medicine, we cannot be survived. Yes, our pharmaceutical industry may have been given certain support to our researcher, our practitioner to collection data to establish the our facts. But question is that Ayush industry cannot be think for take the challenge of the Western pharmaceutical industry, because it is a very gigantic figure. They are controlling so many governments in the world. They will influence the policy making of the WHO also. That's why our question is that we should have to give importance that quality product of medical graduates, quality medicines. And when we are thinking of quality medicines, we cannot rely only herbal preparation. We definitely thinking for herbal mineral preparations. Otherwise, we cannot give a very strong impact in curative aspects. On the other hand, the method of preparations will also be there. We cannot be only escaped on the argument of market huge production or marketing strategy. We cannot compromise on the efficacy of drugs. So if we have traditional methods is giving a good efficacy of drugs, then we must adhere to this principle. Otherwise, we have to lose so many medicines which have been only remain as a literature in the Ayurveda. Because we know, because I am coming from a traditional practitioner, so I know. For example, you have Brihad Jiragadi Modak, Amrit Bhallatak Pras, Makaradhas, Mahanilakanta. I think some of the medicine even do not have the name by even the teachers. I know, I confidently say that no Rasasastri or in Ayurvedic college or university are prepared Makaradhas. Makaradhas may be prepared, but nobody is preparing Mahanilakanta Ras. So when we have to revive our treasure house, and it is a high time, because we know all the national institute having a very good quality and good strength of faculty members. So we should have to think something orthodoxly. Initially, sometimes maybe criticize it, but same thing was there when in 74, nobody is listening to the people of Ayush system. But now we are a viable existence. So gradually, if we have to start to revive our own classical method, and we have to bring forward certain classical medicines, then definitely our young generation will have that confidence to start practice with Ayurvedic medicines, not only preventive but curative also. Because unless and until if we not emphasize on only clinical aspect, only preventive is not be there. Because due to cultural change, due to food, behavior, climate, culture will be definite. So preventive concept may be modified. But principle is always same. But in curative aspect, we have to give in a more immediate and quick response to the patient's sufferings, and therefore we have a need a very potent medicine. So I think these are the certain issues to be addressed for considering the present and future prospect of Ayurvedic practice, particularly to encourage the young generation. Because now we have got around 15,000 graduates coming out every year from 400 or 350 plus Ayurvedic colleges. But I think there is no data out of these 10,000 or 15,000, how many students adhere to the pure practice of Ayurvedic medicines. But it is assumption is that, my assumption is that majority is going to go for cross-patching. And I think a substantial number is only jumping to the allopathic practice. And sometimes they are doing certain work below their dignity. That's why this certain point should be addressed in national level. So I am not going to linger in, because actually I have expressed my things, because I am managing here one institute and I see what is the significance of curative importance along with preventive concept. And I have also discussed that how the management principle of COVID is affected by Ayurvedic principles. So, and I have got certain experience along by 30 years of teaching careers. So I express my views, and it is not, these all of my personal views. It is no any aim to criticize any system, any persons, or any policies of the government. It is only that because I know, because our young generations they are eager to practice of Ayurveda, but they are handicapped. They are handicapped due to poor training and teaching. They are not encouraging by senior people. And there is no readily available, very effective medicine in curative aspect for management of diseases in daily to daily practice. I am not asking for any complicated diseases like cancer or any others, but the common diseases where they are not getting a very effective medicine nearby hand. And another major problem is that now we are teaching preparations, limited preparations in traditional formulations. But now in the market, everything is product has been in ethical product. So that is also confusing. So these are to be issues to be addressed. Otherwise, I think we have got the recognitions, but acceptability as a pure Ayurvedic physicians, it will be very difficult situations. So again, I extend my sincere thanks to organizer to give me opportunity to do interactions on the issues. And I again offer my sincere respect to Baghel sir and Khandel sir, that it is only my experience I have shared, and if it is there is scope to improve, then definitely I will be helpful for their guidance and blessings in future. Again, thank you very much to other panelists present today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your valuable, extensive experience with us. I think the Ayurvedic practitioners who are practicing in private practice in their routine way, they will implemented your thoughts as you shared today. So, Professor Pradeep Goswami sir was also a head and professor in BHU, currently as a director in NIHA, Shillong. Thank you, sir. Now I will welcome to K. Shankar Rao, sir. Kindly share your valuable feedback, sir. Shankar Rao, sir, we are not getting your voice. No, sir.
Mic on कर लीजिए, mic on कर लीजिए.
Okay. No, it's okay, no?
Yes,
It's clear,
sir.
right?
It's okay, boss. Okay, boss.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And most respected Professor Baghel sir, and equally respected Professor Khandel sir, my friend and the director, Northeast Institute of Ayurveda Homeopathy, Professor Pradeep Goswami ji, Dr. Professor Pradeep Kumar Prajapati ji, Professor Om Prakash ji, and Dr. Lav Kush ji. First of all, I would like to pay my sincere thanks to Lav Kush ji for inviting me to
to meet, to get blessings of the senior teachers like Kandal sir and Bagil sir, and meet my friends Om Prakash ji, Prajapati ji, and Dr. Goswami ji for this webinar. So the thing is that what my idea is basically, it's not a question of the COVID, basically. No doubt at all. It's a COVID era, no problem, no doubt at all. And we have very good practitioners like Bagel sir and Kandal sir. They are treating the number of patients, COVID patients, and as well as the post-COVID management also. And it's a great contribution for the system of Ayurveda. But the thing is that there are many doctors or Vaidyas, we can say, Ayurvedic patients. They are also doing a good job. And this is the right time to encash the Ayurveda system to propagate its treasures throughout the world, not only in the country, even in the world also. But the question is remaining the same because of the topic is the present and future practice of Ayurveda. This is, I think so, this is the main topic actually. So what the present Ayurvedic physicians are doing, and what the future, that what we convey to the upcoming Ayurvedic physicians. This is much more important in the present context. The thing is that to practice of Ayurveda in the society, to get a name, fame, and money, etc., there is a requirement of a good quality of education. This is my perspective. Good quality of education. In almost all in Ayurvedic colleges, though it may be a big so-called big institutions. I am not dragging any other institution or its name, but so-called the big institutions. So even there is also not practicing pure Ayurveda. This is the drawback, number one. Number two is regarding teaching, because of the teaching is reflects on the patient care or health care, we can say. Patient care or health care. But the poor quality of teaching is observing in the Ayurvedic institutions because of maybe unskilled teachers or lack of teaching staff maybe, and patients outflow is lacking, or poor infrastructure of the college as well as hospital. Though we have the mandatory rules and regulations as per the CCIM, still lacuna is there. We are under shadow of the lacuna in the quality of producing the graduates and postgraduates. After passing out to the postgraduates, even graduates also, they are not coming into the society, are not standing on their own feet. Why? This is my question. Why? When the government of India or Minister of Finance is spending much more amount, giving good infrastructure as per CCIM norms, and giving national importance institutions, national institutes, universities, etc. Even state governments also encouraging the same thing. But there is a lacuna. Still, everybody is looking for becoming a teacher, not a practitioner. So how long it goes? Because of there is a lacuna in the clinical training in the institutions. Even outside also, there is no any the good Ayurvedic physician to undergo practice under him. Previously it was there. I am giving a few examples here. Pandit Nandakishore Sharma ji, he was a physician of the Jaipur Rajgharana, and Vaidya Ramdayal ji Sharma. He was a great physician. What I heard, basically, I heard through my teachers. So great teachers. So like practitioners is not available in the country to go under training such a great physicians, Ayurvedic physicians. So we have to once again we have to look into the syllabus, teaching and training of the institutions, and also the facilities available in the institution should reflect on the practice of Ayurveda in future, even present tense also. So we have to think once again. The big shots like Bagel sir, Kandal sir, and some other the big shots are there. So they should think on these lines. They should contribute something to the new generations to go into the practice point of view into the society. Then we can flourish like anything because of we all are looking that the modern system of medicine is nowhere stands before the COVID or Corona. So this is a high time to think how to boost the Ayurveda system of medicine into the global platform. Because of this, we have very good principles, no doubt at all. We have very good remedies, formulations, no doubt at all. And everything is fine. But what is the reason to come into the society, to come into practice in the pure Ayurveda system of medicine? Everybody is saying that we should practice pure Ayurveda. Then why this is not happening? Because of the lacuna in the teaching and training at the institution levels. So this we had to think to rebuild the structure and send out the scholars to the society for the good practicing of Ayurveda to contribute the medical science to the public. This we have to be think in such a fashion because of we have number of formulations, no doubt at all. Just like Pradeep Goswami is telling that example Dashamudashri has been given. The Kasturi is not a question. The question is, the Dashamudashtra does not contain even this mool. There is no any rooty part of the plants in the Dashamudashtra. Nobody is adding, no content is there in the Dashamula. Somebody using leaves, somebody using is a stem, somebody using bark, etc., etc. No rooty part is there in the Dashamudashtra. It is a simple medication and using by many Ayurvedic physicians. Still, the Dashamula is working. But if that contains the 10 Dashamulas, definitely that produce miracles in the clinical point of view. So that we have to think in such a way, and there's no unique formulations in the Ayurveda. Even simple Chyawanprash, just like Bagel Sahab mentioned that Chyawanprash, or Kanda Sahab said that Chyawanprash is available. Even we are not getting the unique formulation of Chyawanprash of various parts of the country. Somewhere it is liquid form, somewhere it is solid form, somewhere it is in different forms. So we don't have the proper SOP, that means standard operating procedures and standard manufacturing practices, though we have very good literature. So we should concentrate on such aspects. Then only we'll get the genuine medicines, and that certainly reflects on the patients and the healthcare. Certainly that gives a good a name and fame for the physicians as well, including science also. So we have to think in such a way that adulterations are nowadays much more mushroom growing actually, to speak. So number of alterations are there. People what they are using, the power industries what they are using, we don't know, and the marketing is full of boon of the medicaments. So we have to think once again regarding the alterations, etc., etc. And the thing is that we have management system. Suppose if you take a mercury or mercury preparations, there has been mentioned if there gives anything wrong in the system, you have the rasajirna, lohajirna, like management is there, isn't it? But we are failing to treat the patients when some mishappening taking place. So immediately rushing to the modern hospitals, etc., etc. So this is not the way to manage the system. We have the kakarashtra ganadravyas. Certainly that depletes that acting as a chelating agents. And moreover, rasajirna management is there, lohajirna management is there. Every minerals and metals are having if we use wrongly, I'm sorry to say, if we're using wrongly, we have the treatment system management also. So that still we are afraiding, The same thing is also doing the policymakers. Even COVID protocol is there regarding the medications, COVID protocol medications are there. In that, there is no any Rasaushadhi is not included. There, the Ministry of Oils is upgrading to include Rasaushadhi. This should not be there because of just like the previous teachers has told that Rasaushadhi should be included in somewhere else in the management of treatment. Even Charaka also used the Rasaushadhis like an Avaya Saloh or some Mukta Mani, Pravala Pishti, etc., etc. Suritapi Kasisa Ter has been mentioned. Why we should upgrade at this level? That means we don't have confidence. So that confidence should be built up in among all the Ayurvedic physicians or scholars, etc. That is much more is required. Then there should be a common protocol for the diseases. If I go for a patient, Ayurvedic physician for common cold, he will give a number of different drugs that cost around 3,000 to 4,000 rupees. And if I go some other physicians, he gives only 500 rupees of drugs. So there is no common protocol for any treatment. So we have to bring under one umbrella that particular disease, for one particular diseases, there should come common protocol or treatment should be there. This is much more equal, so that this gives a boosting to the new generations so that they can practice easily. The big physicians are there, such so-called great physicians are there, like Bhagat sir, Kandal sir, etc., and so many other physicians in the field of Ayurveda. They should sit together, they should formulate that this is the common protocol for each and every diseases, so that the young generation, the coming generations, they should follow the things and they may going to add something and do the practice because of they have a lot of experiences. 40 years, 50 years of experience is giving to a new generation, a young boy. Definitely he will follow the same things and he will practice good on the base of pure Ayurveda system of medicine. So we have to think on that line also. This is my humble request to Professor Bhagat sir, Professor Kandal sir, and you give your valuable experience, a lengthy experience to the young generation like me, like my students, etc., so that they can enjoy your 40 years of experience to practice the Ayurveda, and they will get the name and fame, and as well as with the science also. Then the other thing is that even the government of India also recently on 30th October in 2020, they have issued a gazette, PCIM, Pharmaceutical Commission of Indian Medicine. In that, what they did, that this is the opportunities. If we don't have any opportunities and nobody will come and join, even the central drug analyst or drug inspectors, they have been included simple BSc graduates, number one. This is the qualification. And M Pharma, B Pharma, and MBBS physiology, microbiology, etc., etc. And recently added PG Rashastra. So this is the rank factor where we are going actually to speak. The distribution of labor is much more important to a particular subject, basically. So this is not doing well. Simply they're following the old pattern and going into the market. Because of Professor Pradeep Goswami just mentioned, that regulatory aspect is also much more required to build up for a particular subject concern. This is my humble request at this platform. So we have to think all these points to get to give boosting to the, especially the boosting to the outcoming young generations, graduates and postgraduates. And moreover, there should be requirement of reform in the syllabus and structure of the institutions, etc., etc. This strictly, this is a high point to encourage the Ayurveda. So we have to focus in multiple facets so that certainly the practice of Ayurveda definitely flourish like anything, and just like the China people doing the same thing. The Chinese first option is not MBBS. Their first option is the traditional Chinese medicine. Why don't the Indian system of medicine, like Ayurveda, should first choice in the country? Because of lacunas are there, so that nobody is coming. But if we correct all the lacunas, definitely one day that they will come to first choice of this Ayurvedic graduation or post graduation. So I'm thankful to Dr. Laukushi and the most respected Bagel sir, Kandal sir, Professor Pradeep Goswami ji, Professor Pradeep Prajapati ji, Professor Om Prakash ji, at this juncture. And this is of my views, and I'm conveying at this platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your extensive experience. Sir has a 25 years experience in teaching as well as clinical practice also. Currently, sir is a HD of RSBK at NIA Jaipur. Since July 2015 to September 2016, sir was also a director of NIA. And sir has a great shared great information with us. And let me clear here one thing, that Dr. P.K. Prajapati sir from AIA New Delhi is currently not joining with us in this program. Thank you, sir. Now I will request to Dr. OP sir from BHU. Kindly share your point, sir. OP sir. Dr. OP sir.
Hello.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Please share.
So first of all, we would like to pray Lord Shiva, who is sitting in the holy city of Kashi, and by praying him, Padam Jagat Utpatti Sthira Sanghar Karanam Swarga Pavarg Yodwaram Trailokya Saranam Shivam. So the today's topic, that the present and future needs of practice in Ayurveda, is I think it is a very relevant one. And first of all, I would like to take the sincere regards to Professor Baghel sir, Professor Khandel sir, Professor Goswami, Professor Shankar Rao, Laukus ji, and other the academicians and researchers who are connected in this webinar. Actually, the first and foremost, the challenges regarding Ayurveda, that the first and foremost question is whether the Ayurveda is scientific or not. That is the most challenge, and mostly the so-called scientists and so-called modern doctors and modern physicians, they used to convey their own, you see, the statements that Ayurveda is not scientific. So the answer is from our side that the almost 3000 years back, the Acharya Charak, in the very first chapter of Sutrasthan, he has written that Prashamyatya Sudhaya Purvo Dayo Yukti Vipasrai Manaso Jnana Vijnanam Dhairya Smiti Samadhi. It means the science or the Vigyan word has been used for the first time in Ayurvedic classics or in our Vedic literature. So if anybody is saying that it is not scientific, so the he should know, and he should know, define the science or Vigyan. Whatever we have got the knowledge from our, you see, the traditions from our ancestors, that the science is the thing, or science is the subject which has got logic behind it. And I think that each and every principle of Ayurvedic classics has been given on the certain principles and certain logics. So the, if any most scientific you see treatise or literature or any traditional thing is present in this universe, that is the Vedas or the Ayurveda. But the present needs of Ayurvedic medicine or the traditional system is that if the clinical efficacy of Ayurvedic principles can be proved, because there are many claims from many physicians of many institutes or even the private practitioners, and the claims are very much, you see, different than anybody claims for Gugulu, anybody claims for Bhumya Malki, and so on. But the thing is that the one claim should be supported by all the Ayurvedic physicians or the Ayurvedic doctors, all the Ayurvedic academicians, as well as the Ayurvedic researchers. So this is the most important thing, that there should be standardization of the herbal, rather we should not use the word herbal, the herbomineral preparations, even the metallic preparations, or any plant-based medicine that it has got this much effect, and this should be used globally, not only in India, not only by the Ayurvedic physicians of India. No. So the first and foremost is thing that the standardization of the clinical efficacy of the Ayurvedic products, number one. The second bare area where the infective disorders are coming very much in 21st century, or from the last century, 20th century, or even if we go 100 years back also, then the viral diseases, the chronic bacterial diseases like leprosy, you see, like the tuberculosis, and so on, and different viral diseases, they are coming and they are knocking each and every day to the society globally. So no doubt the antibacterial drugs, the anti-tubercular drugs, the antiviral drugs, even the anti-leprotic drugs, they have got good clinical efficacy. This should be accepted even by the Ayurvedic physicians also. But there are major side effects of those antibacterial, anti-tuberculous, and anti-leprotic, or even antiviral drugs. So we have to see the bare areas, because the modern physicians, we are working in a such an institute that here the modern, the dental, the Ayurveda, or even the nursing system, and many other scientific departments are there. But they are waiting for us that Dr. Singh, these are the anti-tubercular drugs, and they have got certain hepatic damage. So is there any Ayurvedic drug which can be used along with anti-tubercular drugs? So this is a big bare area. You see, the how much use of the anti-leprotic and anti-tubercular drugs are there. It means each and every patient, we have to provide the hepatoprotective drugs, we have to provide the renoprotective drugs, we have to provide the, you see, the pancreatic protective drugs, and so on. So these are the bare areas we have to find out that the immune system of an individual could be saved. So this is a big bare area. So the immunity booster drugs and the immunomodulation should be the main theme, and should be the main theme behind the researchers and behind the teachers, that this is a bare area. We should look into the matter. The next one is our body system and their specific immune booster drugs, because the Rasayan drugs or the Bajikaran drugs, they have been classified on the basis of Agni, on the basis of our organs, at the level of liver, at the level of brain, at the level of lungs, at the level of kidney, and so on. So we should specify those. And the next one is diet and lifestyle management, because you see, almost 50-60 years back, we have made the abundant use of, you see, the white rice, you see, wheat flour, gehu, and since last 50-60 years, we are facing the problems like diabetes, you see, the hypertension, the allergic disorders, and sudden, you see, renal failure. The green vegetables, no doubt, these are available in the market, but what pesticides or the fertilizers are being used, you see, they are making the, you see, those green vegetables as a poisonous dietary article. Then now we are searching for the millets. Millets means, you see, the jowar, bajra, sama, kodo, kakun. So these are the small millets. They have got the different fibers and many layers over those. So they are very much fiber. They are gluten free, and we have to think that the wheat and the rice should be, you see, bypassed by using those millets. Then the use of honey and use of jaggery, this was also bypassed since last 50-60 years by sugar. And you see, now the time has come that the sugar or the chini should be bypassed, and we have to start use again the jaggery and the honey. So there is no harm in using the modern tools, but we have to make our own pathogenesis, so that on those grounds we can search and we can make for further Ayurvedic drugs. Then we have to highlight the, you see, the Ayurvedic therapies. Ayurvedic therapies, especially the Panchakarma therapy, no doubt different procedures. The leech therapy, which is called the Jalaukacharan, because you see, the Jalaukacharan or leech therapy is very much effective in those chronic disorders. Those have got no remedy except the steroids, you see, because like the eczema, you can see the varicose vein, the hair fall, even the psoriasis, you see the different types of atopic dermatitis, you see even the different types of arthritis, where we can bypass the use of analgesic drugs by using the leech therapy or Jalaukacharan. Then the Agni Karma. Agni Karma is very good option. Rather, it is a matchless option for the use of different types of, you see, the growth over the skin in any form. Then the Charsutra therapy, already it has been established, and it is running by the Ayurvedic surgeons and Ayurvedic physicians of our country or even abroad also. Then the next one is the use of anti-allergic Ayurvedic drugs. I think almost in 1975 around, the Professor R.S. Singh and Professor S.N. Tripathi they have made a very good researches at that time in collaboration with the chess department of Banaras Hindu University, Professor D.C. Roy sir, that the series are Albizia lebec, Adhetoda vesica, the Vasa, the Kantakari, and you see Glycyrrhiza glabra. The combination of those, they have got mast cell stabilizing effect, because it is written in our Ayurvedic classics that the Siriso Visagnanam, and they have taken the lead from those principles, and they have proved that these drugs have got mast cell stabilizing effect, and like chromoglycate like action, it has been proved already. And then the some mucolytic action is there, the anti-allergic action is there, anti-inflammatory. So the combination of these four or five drugs, they are very much proven and in very much used by you see the Indian population and the Ayurvedic physicians. If we can make the other leads, other drugs also on those grounds, then it would be very much helpful, that the anti-allergic drugs are very much required in present era and present scenario. Then the management of the coronavirus or the viruses like corona. Many viruses are there. You see, the flu virus is there, swine flu is there, the coronavirus is there. So how these viruses can be managed, and not only the management, the prevention of corona-like viruses to the society, how the society can be prevented. So the society can be prevented on Ayurvedic principles, that number one. And number two, the society can be prevented on only Ayurvedic lifestyle, Ayurvedic diet, not by the Western diet or Western lifestyle. And this was the reason that the Indian population, no doubt, we have also suffered from corona, but you see the mortality rate, the success rate of the patients, they are treated by the modern physicians or Ayurvedic physicians, or even at home also, it is very good. And our government, they have given us a good lead. This is a very good time. Our Prime Minister Modi ji, he has given a good time for Ayurveda and for Ayurveda people, that the corona or corona-like viruses and other lifestyle disorders can be treated by Ayurvedic principles and Ayurvedic drugs and Ayurvedic therapies, not even those on our traditional practices, for practices were prevailed by our ancestors. Then the social awareness and acceptance of Ayurvedic treatment, because the most important thing is that the social awareness of the Ayurvedic principles should be there, and this is a very high time that we should make a good social awareness and good social benefits to the public of India and even globally also. Then the status of Ayurveda on global platform, because we have to show the success of Ayurvedic therapies and our traditional systems from our country, from our home, from our city. Then only the Ayurveda can get a status globally, or we can make a good success of Ayurvedic things, Ayurvedic principles on global platform. Then what are the future needs? You see, the standardization of researches, the plant, the herbomineral preparations, you see the Ayurvedic principles, the diet, promotion of interdisciplinary research, because the Ayurveda is a system which requires the collaboration with the science, not collaboration with the you see the modern doctors, because no doubt we are going ahead and we are doing a good researches also in many you see the institutions of India, but we should make a good collaboration with the researchers, non-medical researchers rather. Then the multi-dimensional approach of the treatment by combining traditional and conventional medicine. So this is another future need. And then only if the government has got, suppose, the faith that the Ayurvedic teachers, Ayurvedic academicians and researchers are doing a good job, are good collaborations with the scientific people, then only the government will make a plan and government will help the Ayurvedic education and research. So the responsibility comes on the shoulders of the Ayurvedic academicians, especially to make a good collaboration, to make a good researches, so that the government can make the rules in the favor of Ayurveda, and government also may sanction the big projects, for the institutions, for the research institutes. Regarding the disease treatment and principles of Ayurveda, no doubt the Nidan Parivartan is a very bigger concept, and which has utilized very much in this corona period at least 8-9 months back. Then the considering the Dasubhita Pariksha and Panchanidan in the treatment of diseases. This is very important. Then the involvement of Srotas and selection of the drugs on the basis of the Srotas and the Samprapti of the disease. And the collaboration of all the three principles of Ayurveda, that is Daiva Vyapasara Chikitsa, the Yukta Vyapasara Chikitsa, and Sattvaja Chikitsa. So this should be, all the three therapies should be used in collaboration. If it is required, all three will be used. If not, then we can use the single also on the basis of, like we are using the Ekal drugs. But the clinical efficacy of the Ayurveda over the conventional treatment in many diseases, for example, the diabetes mellitus, different types of arthritis, whether it is autoimmune arthritis or the psoriasis, it is again the autoimmune disorder. Different types of ulcers, whether they are inside the body or outside the body. Then the respiratory diseases, the COPDs, what we say, the bronchial asthma, and the emphysema. Then the severe side effects of the modern medicine and its treatment, like the steroids, the analgesic drugs, and the methotrexate like drugs. Because this is again a rare area where we should see that how the side effects of those modern drugs can be minimized by the use of Ayurvedic medicine. Next challenge is that the drug resistance to the new strains also give an opportunity for the treatment of the diseases through Ayurveda, because the resistance is again a major problem in this era. And the recurrence of the diseases can be removed by the Ayurvedic drugs, or the Panchakarma therapy, or the Ayurvedic principles or Ayurvedic diet. So these are the major challenges, and over those we should take care to look after the clinical efficacy over the conventional treatment. So the immunomodulation and the immunity boosting drugs, we should see, and we should make a plan on the basis of our OJA, because if we will bypass the OJA, then it will be very difficult for us to define the Ayurvedic principles and to search for a newer drug. So the concept of OJAs is very much important, and we can see especially the drugs which are mostly the immunity booster drugs, are the rejuvenative drugs, like the Triphala, the Giloy, or even the drugs which are used in the as a content of Phalatrikadi Kasai, Phalatrika Amrita Vasa Titta Bhunim Nimbajai Vatha Chodrutam Hanyat Pandurogam Sakamalam. So because these are the leads, and the Ahar Bihar is the main theme, and we should take certain institutes, and the government should also take the lead to establish the institutes. They should only take care for the researches in Ahar and Bihar only. How the diet and conduct would be beneficial for the prevention of diseases, because the curative aspect is very good utilized by the physicians, by the citizens, but the preventive aspect is not being explored by the government, not being explored by the academicians or even the researchers. So there should be establishment of the institutes. They should work only on the preventive medicine, swasthasya swasthya rakshanam, and on the basis of Ahar and Bihar, the diet and the conduct. So these are the major themes which should be take care for the future as the future challenges. And lastly, the global acceptance of Ayurvedic treatment is the mainstream medicine. You see how to achieve the goal, the development of evidence-based practice, not evidence-based medicine. I am telling the evidence-based practice in Ayurveda. Then you see the research methodology should be on the basis of the Ayurvedic principles. The promotion of interdisciplinary researches by the collaboration with the non-medical scientists, especially. I am not preventing that we should not collaborate with the modern doctors. No, we should collaborate if it is required only. But the non-medical scientists, they should be collaborated much and more. They will be more beneficial for Ayurveda. And limitation of modern medicine in many diseases also should be taken care at the time of the treatment and the research. The inclusion of the recent research works in the syllabus of especially the undergraduate and postgraduate the students, when the syllabus are being prepared, then the academicians should be called by the respective bodies. And the the promotion of good knowledge and academic work with the research proposals and project development in Ayurvedic faculty, this also should be promoted. And last and most important is the publishing the research work with authentic work, and on the the global the platform and global magazines should be promoted. So these are the as per mine, these were the main themes, and for the global acceptance for the future needs. So thank you to the organizers, Professor Baghel sir, Professor Khandel sir, Professor Sankar Rao, Professor Goswami, and Laukus ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable experience with us. So, sir is currently working in dermatitis as a HOD, also in BHU, and has 20 years of clinical and teaching practice experience. So, इस प्रोग्राम को सक्सेस बनाने के लिए आप सभी सर का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। शंकर राव सर, गोस्वामी सर, आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। और हमारे जो मुख्य बघेल सर और खंडेल, इनके लिए कुछ भी कहूँ तो अपने आप में के लिए तो उनके लिए तो हम बस अपनी तरफ से आभार व्यक्त। थैंक यू सर। थैंक यू सर।